everybody, and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2020 thriller film The Postcard Killings, a film that is directed by Danis Tanovic and it stars Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Famke Anson, Naomi Battrick, Rory O'Connor, Kush Jumbo and Ava Rose. Now this is a film that I saw a trailer of a few months ago, and I thought it looked really good. I like a really good thriller, a good serial killer type thriller, and this one looked particularly interesting to me. And this film focuses on Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character, who is called Jacob Cannon, and he is a New York police detective who has to go to London to unfortunately identify the dead body of his daughter and her new husband as they were honeymooning around Europe. This obviously crushes him and his ex-wife, played by Famke Anson, and he vows to track down this serial killer in order to get vengeance for his daughter. And this takes him out of his jurisdiction all over Europe, trying to track down this serial killer, in the hope that he can also work with the local authorities. Many of them are reluctant to do so because of his jurisdiction limits, but he does manage to pick up some help along the way, as well as a journalist who is willing to help too. Now, what are my thoughts on The Postcard Killings? Well, this is also based on a James Patterson novel. Can't tell you what the novel is like, I've not read it, so I can't really give you any comparisons between the two. But I actually thought this was a pretty intelligent serial killer type thriller film. Nicely made, nicely constructed. I think the pacing will be an issue for some because it is quite slow paced, so be warned. Don't be going into this thinking you're going to watch something like Seven or that type of serial killer film. It is nothing like that at all, even though some of the killings are quite ritualistic and brutal, and quite disturbing to look at. So it's not tame. I wouldn't suggest it's tame, but it is not, if you like, Hollywoodized or overly graphic or anything like that. I think the central performance here by Jeffrey Dean Morgan is excellent. He's always reliable as an actor, and he really carries this film with his performance about this broken man first, using his skills as a police detective in order to get some closure here for him, desperately for himself and for his ex-wife, in order to move on with his life. However, it's frustrating for him because some of these authorities across Europe won't work with him, so he finds it continually frustrating for him not being able to help in the way he wants to help. A really layered performance by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and I really enjoyed it. Famke Janssen's not in the film that much, but she's an accomplished actress. She does very well, even though these days she doesn't look like the Famke Janssen that we know of old, because she's had obviously so much plastic surgery done, but her performance is fine. I really liked as well in this film, I'm not sure if you can call it a twist or more of a red herring. There's a red herring in this film that I thought was brilliantly done. Who you think is the killer, and when you're watching the film you think it's you, or it really wasn't. It was a really nice twist stroke red herring, and I liked the way that worked in the film. It does lose its way a little, this film, in regards to the pacing. After a strong opening, it's mainly the second act. It kind of gets a bit saggy in the belly, if you like, the second act, and it slows down drastically. Not a lot happens until they start picking up the pieces, and I have a feeling a lot of audience members will lose interest at that point, but don't try and stick with it. And there's some scenes by the end of exposition that the film, I personally think, didn't require, because there was enough evidence there for you to put the pieces of the puzzle together and to figure out what's going on intelligently. But there's a handful of exposition scenes near the end that I'm guessing probably were even in the novel. They put them in the film, obviously for those audience members that haven't been following it, maybe. And it's something Hollywood films do, or films do in general. They dumb themselves down, and I think it sometimes harms the film, and it harms this film because these exposition scenes, I personally just didn't think they were required. So overall, I was I was quite impressed with this film, although I do think the pacing harms it at times. It does have a nice twist, stroke red herring in it that I think really brightens the film up, makes it very interesting. They've got some characters who've got interesting backstories, and some of them just aren't fleshed out enough, in my opinion. So it's a fine balancing act, this film, that it doesn't always get right, and it sacrifices some areas, and focuses on the wrong areas, if that makes sense. I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's one of those, I think, that may divide audiences. Some may watch it and think, nah, it's not for me, this is too slow paced. But if you compare this to that Michael Fassbender film a couple of years ago, I was really looking forward to The Snowman. I was really looking forward to that film. I thought the trailer looked brilliant, and it came out and it was just a mess. It was like poorly edited together, and it was just a real mess. This one isn't a mess. It's got a strong beginning, middle and end, and it makes sense throughout if you follow it closely, with some very, very good performances. But the pacing lets it down, or the dumbing down lets it down, and it's not exactly a thriller minute, if you like. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's certainly watchable. It's a cut above. But I'm not sure everybody that watches this is going to get exactly what they need out of it or want from a film like this. But it doesn't necessarily pander to that type of serial killer film watch, I suppose. So don't expect 7. Go in there with your expectations lowered a little bit, and I think you might be pleasantly surprised by this one. So that's my review for the Postcard Killings. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching. And of course, I'll see you back here for more reviews on Screen Stars very, very soon.